There we go. There we go. Okay, today starts a new adventure. Had some recent rains, water levels are right up high. Not sure what to expect. I've only got probably 2.5 to 3 hours. I'm back to a spot that I've fished at before with mixed success. Probably can pick up, there's quite a bit of surface debris. So I'm not sure how much fishable water I will find with traditional surface lures. I might have to throw a fair bit of weedless, but I'm out in nature, having a bit of fun, trying my luck. We'll see if the fish are hungry. No immediate success, so either there's no fish in this particular area or they're just not really turned on. On the days that you're in the right spot and they're really turned on, you don't have to wonder, because they hammer it right from the word go. They're the sessions that are worth waiting for. They're the ones that keep you coming back. Tell me that doesn't look bassy in there. Tell me that should not get the absolute wee-wees belted out of it. The boom! Why didn't it? Why didn't it, boys and girls? Finally, I've got one that was silly enough to play the game. It's only a little one, so I'm just going to back the drag off so I don't pull the hooks, because it's always a good thing to break the donut. I think that that's fairly representative of the size fish that have been attacking my lures, and part of the reason why I'm having such trouble getting a hook into them, as I try not to break any rods, lose any outfits. Have a go at the size of the little tacker. Perfect little bass, very aggressive, and quite likely to spike me as I attempt to de-hook him. Get the pliers into him. Thank you for breaking my donut little thing. See you, mate. So, I probably won't be happy if that is the only fish that I catch for my efforts, but it's still better than none at all. I'd love to catch one that's 5 or 6 times as big though. Wouldn't that be cool? And that particular fish, it wasn't sitting on any big structure, it wasn't sitting on any obvious sign of target for casting. It was just on a bit of shaded bank, a cast that was tucked nice and tight to the edge. So if you just cast at all of the obvious structure, you will bypass fish. And I know it wasn't a massive fish, but if that's the only fish that are in the system and hungry, that's the only thing you can catch. There we go. There we go. Nicely slow walk the dog close to the bank, using that same pattern. He's just on the... There we go. He was a bigger fish, but I was just happy to let him go. He was just hooked on the lip. He was probably twice the size of the previous fish, but I was just going to let him go anyway, so I decided to flick him off beside the kayak. So once again, just a seemingly featureless bank, just slowly walking the dog. Not targeting specific casting at sunken timber or overhanging foliage or anything like that. It's weird. Some days those are the sort of targets that the fish will sit on, and other days you just have to scattergun. Okay, so I've gone a few casts on this side of the bank near some flooded structure with no activity. I'm tempted to go back to that muddy side of the bank now and concentrate my efforts over there, because that's where I was getting those hits. As good as this area looks over here, there we go, back on that bank, working that lure nice and slowly parallel to it, and that's the third fish, probably all within a stretch of about 100 metres. They're all getting progressively bigger. So as to if it's the time of day, I'm just coming into an area where the fish are more active, but I suppose what it does show is that you can learn as you go along. It's getting in a much more impressive fish than the first one, probably similar in size to the second one that you didn't see much of because he shook off beside the kayak. See you, mate. The rod I'm using is the OKUMA LRF. This is the 502L. Great rod for this kind of application. Nice light action for casting small lures. Brilliant for use in the kayak and for portages between spots. Does break down into two pieces. Really easy transportable rod. Very tough. takes an absolute battering with what I do to them. Recommend them very highly for this type of creek bassing. Whoa, that was the hit of the day so far. It's just a shame that he didn't find the hooks. Drew him out from underneath that branch. Doesn't look like he's angry enough to come back for another crack. Doesn't mean I'll stop trying. Come on, Bass. Now is the time. You should be chewing your little heads off. There we go. Thank you for performing on cue for me. Oh, and then you dropped it. That wasn't very nice of you. Oh, wasn't very nice of you at all. You chewed? You just didn't hang around for the dessert. Oops. Dear oh dear. There we go. Now are you going to stay buttoned? Got a little burst of activity here just in this little stretch, which just so happens to coincide with the same bank that I did well on the way out, just on the opposite bank. So could just be that this is where the fish are sitting, and they've switched banks as the conditions have changed with the light dropping, or the fish are just roaming through the system and I'm coming through them at different times. This feels like a decent fish, just coming into that magic dusk time. There he is. Yeah, he's a good fish. Good for this system anyway. Not massive, but he's done the job. Just as we get the last of the light for the day. If you compare him to how we started, a much better fish. And on surface too. See you, mate.